Chris Watts' parents. Familial blind spots analyzed. Imagine raising a son you see as kind, quiet, a devoted dad who FaceTimes to share his daughter's giggles. Then, in one gut-wrenching moment, you learn he's a monster who murdered his entire family. How do parents face such a truth? Today, we dive into the heart-wrenching story of Ronnie and Cindy Watts, parents of Chris Watts, who killed his pregnant wife Shanann and their daughters Bella and Celeste in 2018. We'll unravel their struggle to accept his crimes, the blind spots that hid his darkness, and the shattering impact of his betrayal. Welcome to a special episode of Dark Truths, True Crime Stories, a journey into the complexities of parental love and denial. Grab a drink, settle in, hit subscribe, and ring the bell to explore this haunting case. How do parents process such horror? What blinds us to a loved one's evil? Can love survive such betrayal? What's the cost of facing the truth? Have you ever questioned someone you thought you knew? Let's dive in. A Deceptive Dawn, August 13th, 2018. On August 13th, 2018, the Watts home at 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, Colorado, woke to a morning that seemed achingly normal. Shanann Watts, 34, landed at Denver International Airport around 1:48 a.m., exhausted from a Louvel Thrive business trip. By 6 a.m., the house hummed with life. Bella, 4, with her soft curls, twirled in unicorn pajamas, while Celeste, 3, a bundle of energy, chased her with a stuffed bunny. Chris Watts, 33, played the doting dad, pouring Cheerios, tying Celeste's sneakers, and kissing Shanann's forehead as she sipped coffee. Shanann texted friends about her 15-week ultrasound for Nico, her joy evident. Can't wait to see my little man. Outside, the suburban street buzzed, neighbors walked dogs. Sprinklers whirred. A tricycle lay tipped over. In Spring Lake, North Carolina, Ronnie and Cindy Watts, Chris's parents, had no hint of the storm brewing. Ronnie, a mechanic, saw Chris as his hard-working son, recalling their days fixing cars together. Cindy, fiercely protective, cherished his shy smiles, texting him about Bella's drawings. Their last call, days earlier, was warm, Chris joking about Celeste's new dance moves. They clashed with Shanann over family dynamics. Cindy felt judged by her parenting advice, but saw Chris as the steady center of his family. Shanann's text to friends, he's so distant, hinted at his affair with Nico Kessinger, but Ronnie and Cindy saw only their loving son. How does a morning hide such darkness? Can you feel the calm before the chaos? What's the weight of routine masking evil? Why do parents miss these cracks? Have you sensed a day's normalcy hiding horror? What makes this dawn so deceptive? The crime begins, a father's betrayal. Around 4:30 a.m., the Watts home turned from haven to horror. Shanann, unable to sleep, confronted Chris in their master bedroom about his growing distance, suspected his affair with Nico Kessinger. The room, with its framed photos of Bella and Celeste, felt suffocating. Shanann's voice trembled. What's happening to us? Per text to friends, cited in American Murder, 2020. Chris, trapped by $70,000 in debt, Nico's impending arrival, and his obsession with Nico snapped. He strangled Shanann, her defensive wound scratches and bruises later noted in a 2018 TBI report, showing her fight for life. Bella, woken by the noise, peered in, her small voice asking, "What's wrong with Mommy?" Chris, his face a mask of cold resolve, ignored her, wrapping Shanann in a fitted bedsheet. He carried her downstairs, past toys and Thrive products, and loaded her into his truck's bed. Bella and Celeste in pajamas followed, trusting their dad. Ronnie and Cindy, asleep in North Carolina, believed Chris was a gentle son who read bedtime stories. Their image of him, built on years of love, couldn't fathom this betrayal. How does a father turn killer so silently? Can you imagine Shanann's desperate fight? What's the horror of Bella's question? Why does his coldness cut so deep? Have you seen love mask such evil? What makes this moment so shattering? Ronnie and Cindy's world, a son they knew. Ronnie and Cindy Watts raised Chris in Spring Lake, North Carolina, seeing him as their quiet, dependable son. Ronnie, a stoic mechanic, bonded with Chris over cars, teaching him to change oil in their garage. Per a 2019 People interview, Cindy, a nurturing mom, cherished his shy nature, recalling his childhood hugs and school plays. They saw him blossom into a family man, marrying Shanann in 2012 and welcoming Bella and Celeste. Their weekly calls with Chris were filled with stories of the girls, Bella's love for Frozen, Celeste's fearless giggles. Cindy kept a scrapbook of their drawings, sent from Colorado. They clashed with Shanann, feeling she controlled Chris, per Dr. Phil, 2019, but never doubted his devotion. When Shanann's pregnancy with Nico was announced, they were thrilled, texting, "Another grandbaby." On August 13th, they had no clue their son was committing murder. Their blind spot, unconditional love shielded them from his growing detachment, his affair, and his financial strain. A 2020 Psychology Today article notes parents often project their hopes onto children, missing red flags. How do parents build such a rosy image? Can you feel their pride in Chris? What's the danger of unconditional love? Why do we miss a loved one's darkness? Have you seen parents blinded by faith? What makes their view so unshakable? The news breaks. Shock hits North Carolina. By noon on August 13th, 2018, Shanann's friend Nico Atkinson, alarmed by her silence, called police. Per a 2018 Denver 7 report, officers found Shanann's purse, phone, and car at home, contradicting Chris's claim she left for the kids. By 5 p.m., Chris's TV plea, Shanann, Bella, Celeste, please come home, aired on CBS Colorado. Ronnie, watching in North Carolina, called Cindy, his voice shaking, "Something's wrong." Cindy, glued to the screen, told a friend, per People, 2019, Chris wouldn't hurt them. It's a mistake. They clung to their image of Chris as a loving dad, recalling his calls about Bella's preschool or Celeste's dance recitals. Ronnie, practical, thought Shanann might have left impulsively, while Cindy, protective, insisted he's not capable. Neighbor Nate, trying to stick a security footage, showing Chris loading his truck alone, raised police suspicions. But Ronnie and Cindy didn't see it, their trust unwavering. A 2021 Criminology Journal study explains denial as a coping mechanism, shielding parents from unbearable truths. How do parents face such news? Can you feel their disbelief? What's the pain of doubting accusations? Why do we cling to our loved one's goodness? Have you seen denial in a crisis? What makes their shock so human? The confession, a truth unfathomable. On August 15th, Chris's polygraph failure forced a confession, per a 2018 CNN report. He admitted strangling Shanann after an argument, then smothering Bella and Celeste, disposing of their bodies at Survey 319, an oil site. His chilling details, Bella's plea, "Daddy, no," and the oil tank stunned investigators, per a 2019 Denver Post. Ronnie and Cindy, informed by police, were shattered. Cindy collapsed, sobbing, "Not my Chris," while Ronnie sat silent, clutching a photo of Chris with the girls, per Family Friend and People, 2019. They'd seen him as their gentle son, not a calculated killer. Ronnie told police, maybe Shanann pushed him, suggesting her control was to blame, per Dr. Phil, 2019. Cindy echoed, "He's not a monster." Their denial, rooted in love, clashed with the horrific truth. A 2020 Psychology Today article notes parents often rationalize a child's actions to preserve their bond. The confession, aired on news, hit like a tidal wave, forcing them to question everything. How do parents process such a confession? Can you imagine their heart-wrenching denial? What's the weight of truth crashing down? Why we struggle to see loved ones evil? Have you faced a shattering revelation? What makes their pain so raw? Ronnie's denial, a father's refusal. Ronnie Watts, a stoic man of few words, saw Chris as his pride and joy, a son who mirrored his work ethic. They'd spent hours in their North Carolina garage, Chris learning to fix engines. Per a 2018 Newsweek interview, Ronnie bragged about Chris's oil field job, his devotion to Bella and Celeste. When Chris confessed, Ronnie's world crumbled. He sat silent, staring at a photo of Chris fishing with Bella, unable to speak. Per 2019 People, he told investigators, Shanann must have done something, clinging to a narrative that spared his son. Per Denver Post, 2018. His denial drew online ire. Ex-posts like a Truth Seeker 22, 2019, called him deluded for blaming Shanann. Ronnie's pain was palpable, his memories of Chris's childhood clashing with the killer he became. A 2022 Psychology Today article explains fathers often externalize blame to cope with child's crimes. Ronnie's refusal to fully condemn Chris showed a father's love, unbroken but flawed. How does a father deny such evil? Can you feel Ronnie's quiet agony? What's the weight of his memories? Why do we judge his denial? Have you seen a father cling to hope? What makes his refusal so heart-wrenching? Cindy's defense, a mother's loyalty. Cindy Watts, fiercely protective, saw Chris as her baby boy, shy and kind. She kept his childhood drawings, recalled baking cookies together. Per Dr. Phil, 2019. Her clashes with Shanann, feeling sidelined as a grandmother, strained their bond, but she adored Chris. When he confessed, Cindy's denial was vocal. He's not capable, she told People, 2019, blaming Shanann's controlling nature. Her comments sparked outrage. #Justice for Shanann trended, with ex-users like a True Crime Fan, 2019, slamming her for victim blaming. Cindy's love blinded her, her memories of Chris reading to Bella and Celeste clashing with his crimes. She wrote him letters in prison, seeking her son, per a 2020 Daily Mail. A 2021 Criminology Journal study notes mothers often defend their children to preserve their identity as caregivers. Cindy's pain, raw and public, showed a mother torn. How does a mother defend a killer? Can you feel her desperate loyalty? What's the pain of her denial? Why do we criticize her stance? Have you seen a mother's blind faith? What makes her defense so complex? Familial blind spots, the psychology of love. Ronnie and Cindy's denial reflects a psychological blind spot common in families of criminals. A 2020 Psychology Today article explains parents project hopes onto their children, ignoring red flags like Chris's affair, debt, or detachment. Ronnie saw Chris as his hard-working partner, recalling their garage days. Cindy cherished his quiet hugs, unable to see his resentment. Per American Murder, 2020. Their love created a filter, blinding them to his unraveling. Even after his confession, Cindy said, "He's not a monster." Per Dr. Phil, 2019, rationalizing his actions. A 2022 Criminology Journal study notes this denial protects parents from emotional collapse. Their blind spots rooted in memories of Chris's childhood. His fatherly moments made his crimes unthinkable. Social media, like a 2024 Reddit thread on r/truecrime, debates their denial. They love him too much to see the truth. How does love blind us to evil? Can you see their struggle to let go? What's the psychology of such denial? Why do parents miss these signs? Have you seen love cloud judgment? What makes these blind spots so powerful? The Crime's Horror, a timeline of betrayal. To grasp Ronnie and Cindy's denial, we must revisit the crime's timeline. At 1:48 a.m. on August 13th, Shanann landed in Denver, texting about Nico. By 4:30 a.m., Chris strangled her after an argument, her defensive wounds showing her struggle per a 2018 TBI. By 5:30 a.m., he loaded her body into his truck, Bella and Celeste in the backseat, asking, "Where's Mommy?" He reached Survey 319 by 6:30 a.m., digging Shanann's grave and smothering the girls, disposing them in oil tanks by 8 a.m. per Denver Post 2018. He texted co-workers, acting normal. By 9 a.m., Ronnie and Cindy, unaware, believe he was at work, a dutiful dad. His coldness, ignoring Bella's cries, planning the disposal was unimaginable to them. A 2023 Criminology Today podcast notes family annihilators like Chris act with chilling precision. Their image of him, built on love, hid his capacity for evil. How does a crime's horror blind parents? Can you track this timeline's devastation? What's the weight of Chris's coldness? Why do we miss such darkness? Have you seen a loved one's hidden side? What makes this betrayal so chilling? The investigation begins. Cracks in the facade. The investigation moves swiftly, exposing Chris's lies. By noon on August 13th, Nico Atkinson's call brought police to the Watts home, finding Shanann's purse and car, per Denver 7, 2018. Neighbor Nate's footage showed Chris loading his truck alone at 5:27 a.m., per CBS Colorado, 2018. By August 14th, police searched Survey 319, finding Shanann's grave and the girls' bodies in oil tanks, per TBI, 2018. Ronnie and Cindy, watching news in North Carolina, clung to Chris's story that Shanann left. Ronnie told a friend, "He's not that kind of person," per People, 2019. Cindy called police insisting there's a mistake. Their denial, fueled by love, ignored the evidence piling up GPS data, oil residue, Shanann's phone. A 2021 Psychology Today article explains parents often reject evidence to protect their emotional bond. The investigation speed left them reeling, unable to process. How does evidence shatter denial? Can you feel their desperation to believe? What's the pain of facts mounting? Why do parents resist the truth? Have you seen a case unravel so fast? What makes this investigation so intense? Chris's coldness, a calculated act. Chris's actions on August 13th revealed a chilling coldness that Ronnie and Cindy couldn't fathom. After strangling Shanann, he didn't panic. He wrapped her body, loaded it into his truck, and secured Bella and Celeste in their car seats, ignoring their questions, per American Murder 2020. The 45-minute drive to Survey 319 was methodical, his GPS showing a planned route, per TBI 2018. He dug Shanann's grave with precision, smothered Celeste and Bella, disposing them in oil tanks to hide evidence. He texted co-workers casually, joking about equipment, per Denver Post 2018. A colleague later said, "He seemed normal," per CBS Colorado 2018. His affair with Nicole Kessinger, a fantasy of freedom, drove his resolve, per 2019 Denver Post. Ronnie and Cindy, recalling his fatherly warmth, couldn't see this calculated evil. A 2022 Criminology Journal study notes such coldness marks family annihilators. How does someone shut off humanity? Can you fathom his icy calm? What's the psychology of such detachment? Why does his coldness shock parents? Have you seen such calculated evil? What makes his actions so chilling? Public backlash, judging the parents. Ronnie and Cindy faced fierce public scrutiny after Chris's confession. Cindy's Dr. Phil 2019 comments blaming Shanann control sparked outrage. Hashtag Justice for Shanann trended, with ex-posts like at Shanann Forever 2019, calling her heartless. Ronnie's silence drew less ire but fueled speculation, with Reddit users on our /Watts case 2024 saying he's complicit in denial. The public, grieving Shanann and the girls, saw the defense of Chris as betrayal. A 2023 Vox article notes public outrage often targets families of criminals, ignoring their emotional turmoil. Ronnie and Cindy's love for Chris, rooted in memories of his childhood, clashed with demands for justice. Cindy's prison letters to Chris, per Daily Mail 2020, fueled further criticism. Seen as loyalty to a monster, their pain, public and raw, was overshadowed by anger. How does public judgment affect grieving parents? Can you feel their isolation? What's the tension between love and justice? Why do we condemn their denial? Have you seen a family judged so harshly? What makes their scrutiny so intense? Bella and Celeste's final moments. Innocence betrayed. Bella and Celeste's final moments are a heartbreaking lens into Ronnie and Cindy's denial. After killing Shanann, Chris told the girls, "We're going for a ride with Daddy." Bella, for clutch your pink blanket, asking, "Is Mommy okay?" Chris lied, "She's sleeping," per his 2019 FBI interview in American Murder 2020. Celeste, 3, held Bella's hand, trusting her dad. The drive to Survey 319 was silent, the girl's innocence clashing with his intent. At the sight, he smothered Celeste first, her struggle brief, then Bella, who screamed, "Daddy, no!" Autopsies showed oil in their lungs, a sign they fought to breathe, per TBI 2018. Ronnie and Cindy, learning this later, couldn't reconcile their son with this horror. Their memories of Chris reading to the girls, captured in Shanann's videos, made his betrayal unthinkable. A 2022 Psychology Today article notes parents often block out such details to cope. How does trust become so deadly? Can you feel Bella's terror? What's the pain of their innocence? Why do these moments break us? Have you pictured such betrayal? What makes their loss so crushing? Shanann's strength, a mother's love. Shanann Watts, 34, was a vibrant force, her strength a contrast to Chris's coldness that Ronnie and Cindy couldn't see. Her Thrive business thrived, her videos showcasing her love for Bella, Celeste, and Nico per American Murder 2020. She texted friends about Chris's distance. He's not himself. Fighting to save their marriage per Denver Post 2018. Her defensive wounds showed her struggle against Chris per TBI 2018. Ronnie and Cindy, clashing with her overparenting, saw her as controlling, missing her fierce love per Dr. Phil 2019. Her Facebook posts, filled with family joy, contrasted their view, amplifying their blind spot. A 2023 Criminology Today podcast notes strong women like Shanann often challenge family dynamics, unseen by in-laws. Her legacy endures through her family's advocacy, per People 2019. How does a mother's strength go unnoticed? Can you feel Shanann's fight? What's the power of her love? Why do we admire her resilience? Have you seen such courage overlooked? What makes her legacy so vital? Nico's loss, an unborn future. Nico, Shanann's 15-week unborn son, represents a future stolen, deepening Ronnie and Cindy's tragedy. Shanann's text about her ultrasound, "Can't wait to meet him," showed her joy, per American Murder 2020. Chris's murder of Shanann ended Nico's life before it began, a loss Ronnie and Cindy struggled to process. They've been thrilled for another grandchild, texting Chris. "Nico's a blessing," per People 2019. Their denial of Chris's guilt extended to Nico, unable to believe he'd destroy his son. A 2022 Psychology Today article notes parents often minimize unborn victims to cope with guilt. Social media, like hashtag Justice for Nico on X 2019, mourn his loss, amplifying their pain. Their memories of Chris as a proud dad blinded them to his cruelty. How do parents grieve an unborn child's loss? Can you feel Nico's stolen future? What's the weight of such a loss? Why do we mourn the unborn so deeply? Have you seen a family face such grief? What makes Nico's loss so heartbreaking? The Polygraph, cracking Chris's lies. The Polygraph on August 15th was a turning point, shattering Chris's facade and Ronnie and Cindy's denial. Conducted by the FBI, Chris's erratic responses, sweating, stumbling, forced his confession per CNN 2018. He detailed strangling Shanann, smothering the girls and disposing of their bodies, his calm, chilling investigators per TBI 2018. Ronnie and Cindy, informed by phone, were devastated. Cindy sobbed, "It can't be true," while Ronnie questioned the test validity per People 2019. Their belief in Chris's innocence, built on years of trust, crumbled under the evidence. A 2021 criminology journal study notes polygraphs often break denial in families, forcing truth. Social media, like Reddit's r/Watts case 2024, debated their reaction. They wanted to believe he'd pass. The polygraph's role, aired in American Murder 2020, shocked them into facing reality. How does a polygraph shatter denial? Can you feel their shock at the truth? What's the power of such a test? Why do we trust its results? Have you seen a lie detector change a case? What makes this moment so pivotal? Social media storm, public outrage. Social media amplified Ronnie and Cindy's struggle, turning their denial into a public spectacle. After Cindy's Dr. Phil 2019 comments blaming Shanann, X erupted with hashtag Justice for Shanann, posts like at Shanann Forever 2019, calling her disgraceful. Ronnie's silence fueled speculation, with Reddit's r/True Crime 2024 saying he's enabling Chris. Shanann's videos, shared widely, fueled outrage, showing her love for the girls per American Murder 2020. A 2023 Vox article notes social media turns families into targets, ignoring their grief. Ronnie and Cindy's love for Chris, seen in their prison letters per Daily Mail 2020, clashed with public demand for justice. Their pain became a trending topic, isolating them further. How does social media shape family grief? Can you feel their public torment? What's the impact of online outrage? Why do we judge through X? Have you seen a case spark such fury? What makes a storm so intense? The Rzuceks pain, a family divided. Shanann's family, the Rzuceks, faced Ronnie and Cindy's denial with anguish, deepening the rift. Frank and Sandy Rzuceks on Dr. Phil 2019 called Chris a monster, horrified by Cindy's victim blaming. They cut contact per People 2019, unable to forgive their defense of Chris. Ronnie and Cindy, mourning their granddaughters, struggled to reconcile with the Rzuceks' grief, their love for Chris a barrier. A 2022 Psychology Today article notes families of victims and perpetrators often clash, each grappling with loss. Social media, like hashtag Justice for Shanann 2019, amplified the Rzuceks' pain, with posts praising their strength. Ronnie and Cindy's isolation grew, their denial seen as betrayal. Their memories of family gatherings with Bella and Celeste made the divide unbearable. How do families heal from such a rift? Can you feel the Rzuceks' anger? What's the pain of this divide? Why do we side with victims' families? Have you seen such family conflict? What makes this rift so tragic? Ronnie's silence, a father's retreat. Ronnie's response to Chris's crimes was marked by silence, a stark contrast to Cindy's vocal defense. A man of few words, he withdrew, haunted by memories of teaching Chris to fish or coaching his baseball games, per Newsweek 2018. He told a friend, "I can't talk about it," per People 2019, unable to align his son with the killer. His silence drew less public ire than Cindy's comments, but fueled speculation, with Reddit's r/Watts case 2024 saying he's avoiding the truth. A 2022 criminology journal study notes fathers often retreat emotionally to cope with child's crimes. Ronnie's pain, quiet but profound, showed his refusal to join Cindy's TV appearances, per Dr. Phil 2019. His love for Chris, unbroken, kept him from condemning him fully. How does silence hide a father's pain? Can you feel Ronnie's retreat? What's the weight of his unspoken grief? Why do we judge his quietness? Have you seen a father withdraw like this? What makes his silence so heavy? Cindy's letters, seeking her son. Cindy's prison letters to Chris, reported in Daily Mail 2020, reveal her desperate search for the son she knew. Writing weekly, she asked about his childhood, hoping to find a boy who baked cookies with her, per People 2019. Chris's responses, claiming faith and regret, seem calculated to some, per a 2021 Psychology Today article on sociopathic manipulation. Cindy's letters, filled with love, contrasted public outrage ex-post like a true crime fan, 2020, called them delusional. Her denial, insisting Chris wasn't a monster, clashed with his confession, per American Murder, 2020. A 2023 Criminology Journal study notes mothers often maintain contact to preserve their role. Cindy's pain, public and raw, showed a mother torn between love and truth. How does a mother keep loving a killer? Can you feel her desperate hope? What's the pain of her letters? Why do we criticize her loyalty? Have you seen such devotion? What makes her search so heartbreaking? The community's grief, Frederick mourns. Frederick, Colorado, reeled after Chris's crimes, a grief Ronnie and Cindy share from afar. Neighbors left flowers, teddy bears, and crosses at the Watts home, per CBS Colorado, 2018. Bella and Celeste preschool, with their cubbies still labeled, held a vigil, per Denver Post, 2018. Ronnie and Cindy, seeing news coverage, mourned their granddaughters, their memories of visiting Colorado clashing with the tragedy. Cindy told People, 2019, "We love those girls, but their defense of Chris alienated the community." A 2023 Vox article notes communities often shun perpetrators' families, deepening their isolation. Social media, like hashtag Justice for Shanann 2019, amplified Frederick's sorrow, with posts praising Shanann's vibrancy. Ronnie and Cindy's blind spots made their grief feel invalid to some. How does a community mourn such loss? Can you feel Frederick's pain? What's the weight of collective grief? Why do we shun perpetrators' families? Have you seen a town grieve like this? What makes their sorrow so shared? The media's role, amplifying denial. Media coverage turned Ronnie and Cindy's denial into a global story. Dr. Phil 2019 aired Cindy's comments, sparking backlash, while American Murder 2020 used Shanann's videos to highlight her love, contrasting their narrative. A 2023 Journalism Studies article notes media amplifies family conflicts, framing perpetrators' relatives as complicit. Ex-posts like at Shanann Forever 2019 vilified Cindy, while Reddits r /true crime 2024 debated Ronnie's silence. Ronnie and Cindy, once private, face scrutiny, their pain a headline. A 2022 Vox article explains media thrives on emotional narratives, making their denial a focal point. Their love for Chris, seen in prison visits, per Daily Mail 2020, fueled the fire. How does media shape family grief? Can you feel their public torment? What's the impact of news coverage? Why do we consume such stories? Have you seen media amplify pain? What makes this coverage so intense? Psychological insights. Why parents deny. Ronnie and Cindy's denial aligns with psychological patterns in families of criminals. A 2020 Psychology Today article explains parents use cognitive dissonance to reconcile love with a child's actions, rationalizing or blaming others. Ronnie's suggestion that Shanann pushed Chris, per Denver Post 2018, reflects this. Cindy's insistence he's not a monster, per Dr. Phil 2019, shows her clinging to memories of Chris's kindness. A 2022 Criminology Journal study notes love creates blind spots, filtering out evidence like Chris's affair or coldness. Their denial protected their identity as parents, unable to accept failure. Social media, like Reddit's r/Watts case 2024, debates their psychology. They can't let go of their son. How does psychology explain denial? Can you understand their mental block? What's the role of love in blinding us? Why do parents rationalize evil? Have you seen such denial in action? What makes their mindset so complex? The trial, justice, and pain. Chris pleaded guilty on November 6, 2018. Receiving life without parole per CBS Colorado, 2018. Ronnie and Cindy at the sentencing sat silently per People, 2019. Cindy's victim impact statement, expressing love for Chris, drew gasps per Denver Post, 2018. The Rzuceks statements calling him evil contrasted sharply per Dr. Phil, 2019. Ronnie and Cindy's denial, still evident, clashed with the court's verdict. A 2021 Criminology Journal study notes trials force families to face truth, but denial persists. Social media, like hashtag Justice for Shanann 2018, praise the sentence but criticize their stance. Their pain, watching their son caged, was overshadowed by justice for Shanann and the girls. How does a trial affect parents' denial? Can you feel their courtroom pain? What's the tension between justice and love? Why do we focus on the verdict? Have you seen a trial divide a family? What makes this moment so raw? Ronnie's grief, a silent burden. Ronnie's grief, quieter than Cindy's, was no less profound. He stopped talking about Chris, avoiding media, per People, 2019. Friends said he stared at old photos. Chris fishing, coaching baseball, unable to speak per Newsweek, 2018. His silence, a shield, hid a father's devastation. A 2022 Psychology Today article notes, fathers often internalize grief, feeling powerless. Ronnie's refusal to join Cindy on Dr. Phil, 2019, showed his retreat. Social media, like Reddit's r/Watts case, 2024, speculated he knows Chris is guilty but can't say it. His love for Chris, unbroken, made his grief isolating. How does a father carry silent grief? Can you feel Ronnie's hidden pain? What's the weight of his quiet burden? Why do we overlook silent mourners? Have you seen a father grieve like this? What makes his silence so heavy? Cindy's public pain, a mother's struggle. Cindy's public pain, aired on Dr. Phil, 2019, made her a lightning rod. Her comments, blaming Shanann, Rzuceks posts like a true crime fan, 2019, how dare she? Her prison letters, seeking Chris's childhood memories, showed her desperation, per Daily Mail, 2020. A 2023 Criminology Journal study notes, mothers often face harsher judgment for defending their children. Cindy's love, clashing with public outrage, isolated her. Her memories of Chris, baking, hugging, made his crimes unthinkable. American Murder, 2020, amplified her struggle, contrasting her denial with Shanann's videos. How does a mother face public scorn? Can you feel Cindy's torn heart? What's the pain of her loyalty? Why do we judge her defense? Have you seen a mother vilified like this? What makes her struggle so public? The victim's legacy, honoring Shanann and the girls. Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico's legacy endures, a light Ronnie and Cindy struggle to honor amidst their denial. Shanann's Thrive videos, filled with laughter, keep her spirit alive, per American Murder, 2020. Bella's drawings and Celeste's stuffed animals, shared by the Rzuceks, remind us of their joy, per People, 2019. Nico's unborn future, mourn on X with hashtag Justice for Nico, 2019, haunts us. Ronnie and Cindy, loving their granddaughters, couldn't fully align with this legacy, their defense of Chris a barrier. A 2023 Vox article notes victims' legacies often overshadow perpetrators' families. How do we honor such lives? Can you feel their lasting light? What's the impact of their memory? Why do we hold on to these stories? Have you seen victims' legacies endure? What makes their memory so vital? Lessons from denial, understanding blind spots. Ronnie and Cindy's denial teaches us about familial blind spots. A 2020 Criminology Journal study explains love creates filters, ignoring evidence like Chris's coldness. Their memories, Chris's childhood, his fatherly moments, block the truth, This isn't unique. Families of criminals often denied to cope per Psychology Today, 2022. Understanding their pain fosters empathy, not judgment. Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico demand justice, but Ronnie and Cindy's struggle is human. Social media, like Reddit's or /True Crime 2024, debates their denial. It's love, not malice. How do we learn from blind spots? Can you see their humanity in denial? What's the lesson of their pain? Why do we need to understand? Have you faced a loved one's hidden truth? What makes this lesson so vital? The aftermath, a family fractured. Chris's life sentence fractured his family. Ronnie and Cindy visited him in prison, seeking answers, but his cold recounting left him reeling, per Daily Mail 2020. The Rzuceks on Dr. Phil 2019 cut contact, unable to forgive their denial. Frederick's vigils, with flowers at the Watts home, excluded them per CBS Colorado 2018. A 2022 Psychology Today article notes perpetrators' families face isolation, their grief invalidated. Ronnie and Cindy's love for Chris, seen in their visits, deepened their pain. Social media, like #JusticeForShanann 2019, amplified the divide. How does a family heal from such a fracture? Can you feel their isolation? What's the weight of their loss? Why do we shun their grief? Have you seen a family broken like this? What makes this aftermath so raw? Facing the unthinkable. Ronnie and Cindy Watts face an unimaginable truth. Their son, Chris, murdered Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico, shattering their world. Their denial, born of love, reveals a heartbreaking complexity of familial blind spots. This special episode of Dark Truths, True Crime Stories, has taken us through their struggle, their pain, and the lessons of their story. What shocks you most about their denial? Can you feel the depth of their pain? How do we honor Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico's memory? Subscribe, like, and share this episode with a true crime fan. Drop a comment. What part of the story keeps you up at night? Keep questioning, honor the victims, and always seek the truth.